Welcome back everyone to another episode where we explore the fascinating world of coins and the hidden treasures that could be lying right in your pocket change. Today's story is about a coin that looks so ordinary, so common, that most people wouldn't think twice about it. But in reality, it can be worth a small fortune. I'm talking about the United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 1978 with no mint mark. Now before we get into why this coin is so special, let's take a moment to understand what we're looking at. On the front side of this coin, you'll see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design, created by Victor David Brenner, was first introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. It was the first time a real person appeared on a U.S. coin, and over the years, the Lincoln cent has become one of the most iconic coins in American history. By the year 1978, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for nearly 70 years. Billions of them were struck, and most people treated them like what they were meant to be, simple pocket change. But here's where the story gets interesting. Not all pennies are created equal. When you look just beneath the date on the coin, you normally see a small letter, called the mint mark. This tells you where the coin was made. A D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, and usually, if there's no mint mark at all, it means the coin was produced in Philadelphia. So you might ask, what's the big deal? Isn't that normal? Yes, but the 1978 no mint mark cent is different because of how collectors value it. You see, the Philadelphia Mint struck massive numbers of coins, but very few examples from that year survived in absolutely pristine, untouched condition. The kind of condition collectors dream about. And that tiny detail, the missing mint mark, suddenly becomes a badge of rarity when paired with near-perfect quality. Imagine this. You're at home, maybe you've got an old coin jar sitting on the shelf. You pour it out one day just for fun. As the coins spill across the table, your eye lands on a penny that looks unusually sharp, unusually shiny. You pick it up, you check the date. 1978. And then you notice, beneath the date, there's no mint mark at all. What looks like an ordinary penny could, in fact, be one of the most valuable coins in your entire collection, and that is why coin collectors around the world hunt for this penny. It's not just the date, and it's not just the missing mint mark. It's the combination of all these factors along with history and condition that makes the difference. Now let's talk about grading. Coins are judged on a scale, usually from 1 to 70. The closer a coin is to 70, the more flawless it is. Most pennies you find in circulation are scratched, worn down, and nowhere near perfect. But if you find a 1978 no mint mark cent that grades in the upper 60s, you're not just holding a penny. You're holding a serious collectible that can change hands for thousands of dollars at major auctions. Think about how many of these coins have been lost over the decades. Some fell out of pockets, some were tossed into fountains, others were left forgotten in drawers. Billions were made, but only a fraction remain in the kind of condition that makes collectors go crazy. And that scarcity is what drives the value through the roof. It's not only about money, though. It's also about the history tied to this small coin. In 1978, America was going through changes. Jimmy Carter was president. Technology was advancing. Music, culture, and politics were shaping a new era. This penny carries with it the spirit of that time. Holding one is like holding a little piece of American history in your hand. So the next time you get change back from the store, or when you're digging through an old coin jar, don't just ignore the pennies. Look at them carefully. Check the date. Look for the mint mark, or the absence of one. Because what you might think is worth only a cent could actually be worth a whole lot more, and here's the part you've been waiting for. Believe it or not, a United States 1-cent coin from 1978 with no mint mark has been valued as high as $45,000. Today we are stepping into the fascinating world of American coins, and the star of our story is none other than the 1981 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. Now you might be thinking, how could a simple penny be worth more than a brand new car, or even a small fortune? Well, sit tight, because the journey of this coin is as surprising as the value it holds. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln cent has been part of American history for well over a century. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it quickly became one of the most recognized coins in the United States. Over the years, small changes in design and production have created rare varieties that collectors around the world dream of owning. Among these hidden treasures lies the 1981 no-mint mark penny, a coin that has captured the imagination of experts and everyday people alike. In 1981, the United States Mint was operating in several locations: Denver, San Francisco, and Philadelphia. Coins from Denver carried a small letter D, coins from San Francisco showed an S, and coins from Philadelphia, well, most often had no mint mark at all. To the untrained eye, this seems perfectly normal. But here's where things get interesting. Within these Philadelphia issues, certain examples stand out because of unusual production details, striking errors, and varieties that make them incredibly rare. Why does this matter? Because in coin collecting, rarity is everything. Imagine millions of coins rolling off the minting presses every single day. Most of them are identical, mass-produced pieces of metal meant only for spending. But once in a while, a tiny variation sneaks through. A doubled letter. A die that was slightly misaligned. A coin struck harder or softer than usual. These small quirks are like signatures of history, and they transform a coin from an everyday object into a prized collectible. Now let's talk specifically about what makes the 1981 cent so special. This was the final full year of cents made from a mostly copper composition before the mint transitioned to copper-plated zinc in 1982. That alone makes 1981 coins the last of a classic era. Add to that the fact that collectors have discovered fascinating varieties among these no-mint mark cents, and suddenly you have the recipe for a true numismatic gem. Think about this for a moment. Every time you pick up a penny, you hold a piece of history in your hand. For decades, pennies have slipped through pockets, purses, piggy banks, and coin jars. Most of them will never be worth more than a cent. But for the lucky few who stumble upon a rare variety, it can mean the difference between ordinary change and extraordinary wealth. So how can you spot one of these coins? First, look at the date. It must say 1981. Next, check carefully beneath the date for a mint mark. If there is no letter at all, you may have a Philadelphia issue. But the real treasure lies in the details. Under magnification, look for signs of doubling on the letters or the numbers in the date. Examine Lincoln's portrait carefully for unusual marks or sharpness. The rim of the coin, the edges of the letters, and even the tiny motto "In God We Trust" can reveal clues. If you suspect you found something rare, the next step is to send it to a professional grading service. They can authenticate your coin, grade its condition, and confirm whether it is just an ordinary penny or a treasure hiding in plain sight. Now, let me share a little story. Imagine you're emptying out an old jar of change that's been sitting in your house for years. Among the nickels, dimes, and pennies, one coin catches your eye. It's a 1981 penny, no mint mark. You think nothing of it at first, but something tells you to take a closer look. You grab a magnifying glass and notice the details seem unusual. Curious, you decide to have it checked. A few weeks later, you get the call: the coin you almost overlooked is authentic, rare, and valuable. Suddenly, that single penny you held in your hand is worth a life-changing amount of money. That is the magic of coin collecting. It's not just about metal and numbers. It's about discovery, history, and the thrill of uncovering something that most people will never even notice. The 1981 no mint mark cent is a perfect example of how the smallest details can create the biggest surprises. So the question is, just how valuable can this penny be? Most ordinary 1981 cents will always be worth just 1 cent. Some in excellent condition might fetch a few dollars from collectors. But when you combine rarity, pristine condition, and a desirable variety, the price skyrockets to unbelievable levels. And here is the part you have been waiting for. A rare 1981 Lincoln cent with no mint mark has been valued at an incredible $40,000. Today we are going to talk about one of the most fascinating coins from modern times, a coin that many people ignore in their everyday pocket change, but which can secretly hold a hidden fortune. Yes, I am talking about the United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 2020 without a mint mark. At first glance, this coin might seem like nothing special. It is the familiar Lincoln cent, made of copper-plated zinc, with the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the Union Shield design on the reverse. You see it every day, you spend it without a thought, and millions of these coins are in circulation across the country. But here's the mystery: sometimes the most ordinary-looking coin can turn out to be extremely rare and unbelievably valuable. Now, let's first clear up what the no mint mark actually means. The United States has several mints, including Denver, San Francisco, and Philadelphia. Coins from Denver carry the letter D, those from San Francisco often have an S, but coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint usually come without any mint mark at all. So when you see a 1-cent coin from 2020 with no mint mark, it means it was struck in Philadelphia. But why should this coin matter to collectors? The answer lies in the details. Even though billions of these cents were made, certain examples are far from ordinary. Some were struck with unusual die errors, others came out with doubled images, cracks, or misaligned designs. These tiny variations are what collectors search for, because errors transform an ordinary penny into something truly one of a kind. Think about it. Every coin that passes through your hands is a little piece of history, but when you find one with an error or a rare condition, you are holding something that no one else has. The thrill of spotting such a treasure is what drives collectors all over the world. And with the 2020 no mint mark cent, there are already stories of rare finds that shocked the market. Imagine this scenario. Someone picks up a handful of change from the counter, looks casually at the coins, and suddenly notices something odd about the penny. Maybe the lettering looks doubled, maybe Lincoln's eye appears slightly off, or maybe the strike is unusually sharp and flawless. That person decides to have it checked by an expert, and what looked like a simple 1-cent piece turns out to be worth a fortune. That is the magic of coin hunting. You never know what you might find. Every coin has the potential to surprise you. And the 2020 Lincoln cent without a mint mark has already proven itself to be one of those coins that can make headlines. Collectors are paying close attention. Dealers are watching auctions closely. And people who once ignored pennies are suddenly realizing that they might be sitting on hidden wealth. The key is condition, rarity, and demand. A regular worn 2020 cent is worth just 1 cent. But the rarest ones in mint state condition with striking errors can reach values that most people would never expect from such a small coin. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating story of a coin that almost every American has seen at least once, but very few realize how valuable it can be. I'm talking about the 2004 1-cent coin with the D mint mark. At first glance, this coin doesn't look extraordinary. It's small, coppery, and something most people leave in their pockets, on the counter at the grocery store, or rattling around in a jar of loose change. But here's where things get exciting. Sometimes, the most ordinary-looking coins hold secrets that can make them worth far more than their face value. Let's start with a little background. The 1-cent coin has carried the portrait of Abraham Lincoln since 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of his birth. On the obverse, or the front side, we see Lincoln's bust facing right, a symbol of honor and leadership. Flip the coin over, and you'll see the Lincoln Memorial, which became the standard reverse design in 1959. That design continued until 2008, making the 2004 issue a part of that long, iconic series. Now, what about that little letter under the date, the D mint mark? That single letter tells us this coin was struck at the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint is famous for producing huge numbers of coins every single year. In 2004, it produced hundreds of millions of pennies. With so many struck, it would seem impossible for one to stand out. But that's where the magic of coin collecting comes in. Collectors don't just look at how many coins were minted. They look for rarity in other forms. Sometimes, coins are struck with slight mistakes, doubling in the letters, extra lines caused by die cracks, or even tiny shifts in the design. These minting errors are accidents to the mint, but to collectors, they are treasures. And when a coin with such features survives in beautiful, uncirculated condition, it becomes a prize. Imagine this: a penny that has never been passed from hand to hand, one that has kept its luster, sharp details, and brilliance since the very day it was struck. That kind of condition is rare. And when paired with a unique error or highly collectible variety, the value of such a coin skyrockets. Now, the 2004 penny might just be hiding one of these stories. Some examples from this year and mint show striking varieties that catch the attention of serious collectors. Others stand out simply because of their condition, graded as top quality by professional services. These are the coins that go from being pocket change to auction showpieces. Think about it. Millions of people handle pennies without a second thought. Most are tossed aside, spent, or ignored. But tucked away in that ocean of ordinary coins, a few rare examples exist that could transform someone's fortune. That's the thrill of coin collecting, ordinary people discovering extraordinary value. So here's the big question: if you find a 2004 1-cent coin, how much could it really be worth? The answer may shock you. Because while most are worth just 1 cent, the rarest examples in pristine condition, with the right qualities, have been valued at the incredible sum of $5,000.